Leadership conference got underway in Sandton in Johannesburg this morning. The conference is being attended by the clergy, former heads of state, NGOs, women's organizations and traditional leaders. The aim of the conference is to build a peaceful and prosperous Africa centered on universal values. Our anchor, Desiree Chauke, is there for us right now. Thanks very much for joining us, Desiree. You've been covering this conference. What's it all about, and what's the significance of peace and sustainability in Africa?
Hi, Nompunthet. You were talking about the attendance of former heads of state. The former president of Nigeria, Mr. Goodluck Jonathan, has just been appointed as the next chairperson of this session. But to get a sense of what that all means, we're going to now speak to one of the organizers, King Jobe Khatebe. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much. Just to correct it to Prophet Khatebe.
Prophet, thank you so much for talking to us. You are one of the organizers of this African session of the Universal Peace Federation gatherings. The appointment of former President Goodluck Jonathan as one of your chairpersons, how does that work?
It's an organization that works under the United Nations, promoting peace and sustainability throughout the world. So we gather in all regions, in all countries, politicians, religious leaders, chiefs, in order for us to come together and to shape a way forward in order to bring peace. Because we have a belief that we all need to do our part in order to bring peace in the world.
Take us through the process of the opening session this morning, all those global leaders coming through to the stage to send their messages. What was the overall objective?
The overall objective was to establish this regional session here in South Africa that will be having all these former heads of state and sitting heads of state, prominent religious leaders, in order for us to shape the way forward on how we can be able to have a prosperous country, and also how can we bring peace within South Africa and Africa at large.
You, as Prophet, has a role as a religious leader, but we were talking to the international chairperson earlier on, who was saying it's not necessarily restricted to religion. There are global former heads of state, leaders in their communities who come together to talk about peace. How do you make sure that you don't duplicate the work that is being done either by governments or other NPOs?
First of all, I think the organization already existed for many years under the United Nations. So you will have the United Nations, obviously we have other NGOs and have everyone and this organization sits directly under the United Nations. So in terms of duplication, I think maybe we are not doing enough. That's why we have problems. And the word duplication for me does not sound good, but I think the word duplication for me is good when the objective is also good. So the more NGOs we have, the more organizations we have that are all striving for peace, for me I think that's when we can reach peace and also reach the objective of peace.
The keynote address was given by the chairperson Gwede Mantashe in his role as the chairperson of the African National Congress. Why was it important to have that aspect incorporated into your event?
Okay, first of all, I think he was presenting the president, so as the president of South Africa, not necessarily a party, but he was representing the president of South Africa. And the importance of that is simply to say, as the president of South Africa, we support an initiative that talks about peace. We support it. Any initiative that says, let's work together, let's have a prosperous Africa, prosperous world, and let's have a peaceful South Africa. So that's what it's about.
So this is an organized event, but somebody watching us from home now and thinking, why come together to organize peace? What's the big story here?
I need peace, you need peace, South Africa needs peace, Africa needs peace, the world needs peace. That's why this organization brings together religious leaders, NGOs, business people, heads of states, politicians. You are quite correct, it's vast. What can bring us together? Religion divides us, let us be honest. Politics divides us. What can bring us together? It is peace. If we talk peace, we are speaking a universal language.
So outside of a venue and an event, a person watching us and thinking, this is something I really like, I would like to be part of it, how do they go about doing that?
The organization is quite big, but if they would want to come and work together with us, they can come to me, Prophet Khadebe. Of course, I represent my church, the Revelation Church of God, and my association, Inkulego Yesizwe Association. So they can come and freely. You don't join with money. It's not a church. It's not an organization. It's coming together of all people from all walks of life, all races, to discuss issues of peace.
You've had the opening session. What happens from here on?
You are going to have different breakaway sessions that are going to be divided to religious leader sessions where they'll talk about issues of religion. Then you'll have your session for politicians, business people, and so forth.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I'm scared to say who he is because the program says King Jobe Khadebe, but you insist, Prophet.
King Jobe is my speaker in the royal house, the speaker of the Ingonyama in the royal house. Yes, I'm Prophet Khadebe.
Thanks again for talking to us. And that's it from us here at the Hilton, where the Universal Peace Federation Africa Summit and Leaders Conference 2019 is currently underway.
Thanks very much.
Nampu?
Thanks very much for that, Desiree. The African members of the United Nations Security Council have called on their counterparts in the international community to rally behind regional efforts to create conditions for a peaceful transition in Sudan. The 3 African members, joined by the AU Observer Mission to the UN, have also called on their international partners not to pursue actions that could undermine AU